Good morning. Happy Tuesday. As they say in the restaurant business, Taco Tuesday, I guess. Anyway, we're back here in my library. Sorry. We're back here in my library. The little project that was going on yesterday that was so noisy is now completed, and we're ready to go. Before we start, I want to talk about a kind of a sad thing that happened yesterday. A very well-known children's author by the name of Tomie de Paola passed away as a result of complications from a fall that he took last week. He passed away yesterday, and I thought today we would honor Tomie by reading one of his stories. And we're going to do that in just a minute. But Tomie de Paola was one of my favorite authors. And as you can see, if Elsie can turn the camera a little bit there, these are some of the books that I have of his. Not all of them. All of my books from him are signed by Tomie, as he was a frequent visitor to Hastings and to the Hastings School District. Because of Karen Carlson, who is a good friend of mine, a former teaching partner of mine, and also she was a good friend of Tomie de Paola's. So therefore, that's why most of my books are signed by him as well. So today we're going to talk about and read about one of his most famous characters, and that is Strega Nona. I hope many of you out there recognize Strega Nona. She is one of his characters, and she has a friend named Big Anthony. And here we have Big Anthony right here. He's kind of a little bookend, but you get the idea. And I'm going to show you some more pictures of Big Anthony. Okay, so let me put Strega Nona back right there. And thank you. Elsie handed me Tomie de Paola Brava Strega Nona book, and it's a heartwarming pop-up book. I just want to show you a couple pictures in here. This is not the one we're going to read, but it's kind of a fun one to take a look at. Here we see, I hope I can do this. How's that? Pretty good?
Yeah.
We see Strega Nona in her city in Italy. And this is so fun. Look what happens here. I'm going to pull this window and watch. Oops, sorry. I'm going to open the window. Not pull it, open it. And somebody popped up above here too. I think that might be Big Anthony, isn't it? Looks like it. Okay. And then there's a window over here that I'm going to open. Right there, we see some more people, and this one is already open, so I'm going to go like that, and we see somebody else in the window as well. So this pop-up books are really fun to have, but they're very fragile, and they're very easy to ruin, so I kind of keep them up on a top shelf, and I make sure that I'm around when these books are being handled. In our story today, well, let's start reading, and then I'll show you the next picture from the pop-up book when we get to it in the story. Whoops, thanks, Else. So the story we're going to read today is Strega Nona, and it's an old tale retold and illustrated by Tomie de Paola. And here is the cover of our book. And here again is Strega Nona, our friend, right there. Okay, this is one of my favorite stories, and I know it's Elsie's favorite story too. Okay, here we go. In a town in Calabria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, They all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went, because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands. And she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help keep her little house and garden, so she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. Anthony, said Strega Nona, you must sweep the house, wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her, and you must fetch the water. For this, I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat. Oh, grazie, said Big Anthony. The one thing you must never do, said Strega Nona, is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't want anyone to touch it. Oh, see, said Big Anthony. And so the days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in next to the goat shed, and he had food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up. And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Strega Nona sang, enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day. How wonderful, said Big Anthony. That's a magic pot for sure. And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses to the magic pasta pot. Uh-oh. Sounds like trouble to me. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself? You better go confess to the priest, Big Anthony, they said. Such a lie. And Big Anthony was angry, and that wasn't a very good thing to be. I'll show them, he said to himself. Someday I'll get that pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry. That day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later, Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, Anthony, I must go over the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep the house, weed the garden, feed the goat, and milk her. And for lunch, there are some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot. Oh, yes, yes, Strega Nona, said Big Anthony. But inside he was thinking, ha ha, my chance has come. As soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. Now, let's see if I can remember the words, said Big Anthony. And Big Anthony sang, bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup, boil enough pasta to fill me up. And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. Aha, said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain and shouted, everyone get forks and plates and platters and bowls, pasta for all at Strega Nona's house. Big Anthony had made the pasta pot work. Of course, everyone laughed, but ran home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls, and sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full, it began to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the town people, including the priest and the sisters from the convent, and some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings, but the pot was never empty. When all had their fill, Big Anthony sang, enough, enough, pasta pot, I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day. But alas, he did not blow the 3 kisses. He went outside, and to the applause of the crowd, Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling, until a sister from the convent said, oh, Big Anthony, look. And pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house and was coming out the door. I think Big Anthony's in a bit of trouble. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but pasta kept on pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it. And the pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. What is he going to do? Stop, yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop, and if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. Do something, Big Anthony, they shouted. Big Anthony sang the music song again, but without the 3 kisses, it did no good. By the time the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. I wonder what Strega Nona is going to say. We must protect our town from the pasta, shouted the mayor. Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade. But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling and the pasta kept coming. Oh my goodness, what a mess. I'm glad I don't have to clean it up. We are lost, said the people, and the priest and the sisters of the convent began to pray. The pasta will cover our town, they cried. And it certainly would have, had Strega Nona not come down the road home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what had happened. Oh my goodness. Elsie, can you give me that other book for a minute? Thank you. Let me show you. Wow! This shows you what the town looked like covered in pasta. And Big Anthony is riding on top of the wave, isn't he? Oh my goodness sakes. Oh, can you get him down? Oh dear. Well, let's read on and see what happens. Gotta close it carefully so everything goes back where it belongs. All right, so here comes here comes Strega Nona, not Big Anthony. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses. With a sputter, the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. I don't think Strega Nona's done yet, do you? Oh, Rossi, thank you, Strega Nona, the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. String him up, the men of the town shouted. Now wait, said Strega Nona. The punishment must fit the crime, and she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta for my magic pasta pot, Strega Nona said, and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight, so start eating. I think Big Anthony has a big job. What do you think? And he did. Poor Big Anthony. Look at his big tummy starting to stick out, all that pasta. Oh, my goodness. With no sauce, not even butter. And there's Strega Nona sleeping in her bed like she wanted, and Big Anthony with a big stomach ache and a big stomach. I wonder if he learned his lesson. You never know. Poor Big Anthony. And that's our story for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you and your parents will look up some more stories written by Tomie de Paola. And I know there are more stories about Strega Nona. I know there are more stories about Big Anthony and all kinds of things. In fact, Tomie de Paola has a nursery rhyme book. He has a Bible story book, and that one over there is poems. Okay, and a Mother Goose book, right? Mm-hmm. And here we have a baby sister, and this one talks about Strega Nona, and it starts when Strega Nona is just a young baby and tells her life. And at the very end, you want to show the very end? Sure. At the very end, it says, and the rest is history. And it's history because here comes Big Anthony. So the next story will be the pasta pot story. And this particular one talks about Strega Nona's life. Oh, let's show this so they can see. Okay, this one is signed to Diane. Maybe they can get a look at the author's signature. It's so much fun, boys and girls, to gather signatures of authors when you're able to do that. That's why I like to sign my books when I go places or when people come to visit me. It makes the book just a little bit more valuable, at least to the person who owns it, if not more valuable to anybody else. But it's just kind of a personal touch that makes the book a little more special. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for coming, stopping by, and listening to the Strega Nona story. I hope you have a very good day, and join us tomorrow at the same time. Bye now.